Dana, and today I really want to talk about the concept of found family because it's one of those things that I think is brought up a lot in like the LGBT plus and queer communities, and it's something that I haven't really seen discussed as much in the autistic community, even though there's a massive overlap between the queer and autistic communities. And it's something that I feel like from just talking to people and seeing things online, there has to be like a good amount of us experiencing this. Like, I think that it probably is more of a thing in the autistic community in the way that it is in the queer community, but we don't talk about it an awful lot, we don't bring it up as much. But I've seen lots of other autistic people also talking about having to cut off their parents and not being able to like maintain relationships that are healthy with their families in a way that's very similar to my experience with my family. So I think it's something that we should talk about more, and I would like to bring up the conversation because it's the last maybe like 4 months that I feel like I have really started to put together the foundations of what's going to be like my long-term found family, and started to feel really comfortable referring to them as such and feeling like they are the family that I found and put together. So that's what this video is all about. So I want to start with why there's a need for one. So this is going to be like massively unique and I was gonna say independent to every person, but you know what I mean, like everyone's experience with this in this regard is going to be vastly different, and there's a lot of different things that go into it. So for me, I had the combination of my family not being, they're not outright homophobic, they pretend to be very accepting, but then they say just like the most horrifically transphobic things, and I'd be like, yo, this is transphobia, and you tell me that you're not a transphobe, you're trying to learn and you just don't get it, so I'm trying to educate you here, but you don't seem to want to be educated at all. And obviously that then impacts me because I'm someone that's like questioned my gender and feels like I lean into auti-gender. And even though they didn't know that and I never came out to them about any gender stuff, it was stuff that I felt very impacted by. Alongside that, we had things like my oldest brother's gay, and his partners were always referred to as his partner, his boyfriend, one of those words. Whereas when I had a girlfriend, she was Dana's friend. She was my good friend, my best friend in fact. Not once was she ever referred to as my girlfriend, my partner, my romantic interest, my lover, like nothing to refer to the fact that we were in a romantic relationship. She was just my good friend. Alongside that, my family were very racist, which I just don't agree with and caused lots of arguments. And then there was also unpacking the fact that my childhood, I had experienced a lot of emotional neglect. My parents weren't there for me in the way that they should have been. There was a lot of just negative things that I was trying to unpack and understand, that my mum was not receptive. My dad died in like 2015, so like I don't get the chance to have anything with my dad obviously, but my mum like just impossible to deal with in a lot of ways, a lot of narcissism, and when I was trying to like unpack these things with her to improve our relationship, there was just no reception for it. And then my mum got cancer and that was a whole thing, and I was expected to do everything and be the perfect daughter while dealing with my own mental health struggles, while dealing with figuring out that I was autistic, which was never recognised by my family because my older brother's autistic and he needed the help, so he found out sooner, but I didn't need any help and I was fine, so it was alright for me to find out later. So obviously a very complex and nuanced situation that made a lot of things very difficult for me, until it just came to a head and I ended up having quite a large argument with my mum and walking out of the house, giving her a front door key back and not talking to her again. And I really only spoke to the rest of my family when they were at my mother's house and when like we happened to be in the vicinity. No one ever reached out to me or contacted me. I grew up not really feeling like I had any extended family. Like I had my little nuclear family of my mum and dad and 2 brothers, but I didn't feel any connection to my extended family, and I still don't. But it was real fucking tough cutting off and going no contact with, you know, my immediate nuclear family kind of thing. It was tough, it was hard, it was horrible, but it was something that felt like it was necessary for me to do as a queer neurodivergent person who wasn't having those elements of my personality recognised by my family. You know, they weren't seeing me for who I am, they weren't treating me in the way that I deserved for who I am, and it wasn't a relationship that was ever going to work. And I know people always want to argue against that because they're your family and blood's thicker than water and blah blah blah. It was not a relationship that was ever going to bring me any sort of positive emotion, you know? And obviously if something's exclusively bringing negativity into your life, you're best cutting it out. But then that left me in a position where I didn't feel like I had anyone. You know, I was living with my already ex-partner at the time and dating someone that I didn't feel like really cared about me, that I didn't feel like was really offering me any sort of support. Like, it was a very, very tough time and I didn't feel like I had anybody. And that was where, up until, like, from January last year when this happened, up until, like, January, February time this year, I was just very depressed and felt very alone and didn't feel like I had anybody because I'd cut my family out. I was in a toxic, not very good relationship, having just left a very, very long relationship that I felt very secure in, but wasn't actually a very good, like, it was a full-on emotionally abusive relationship. So I was feeling very alone and a lot of need for a found family. And I watched a lot of things that had the element of found family in them, you know, things like What We Do in the Shadows, Our Flag Means Death, and the boat that rocked, things that just had that little like found family sort of feel to it. I got real obsessed with them, and that was where I was like, I really miss having a family. And there were a lot of times that I considered talking to my like blood related family again, and I was like, I don't miss my family though. I miss having a family. My family, I'd much rather not have anything to do with at all, but watching things where people have this support system around them and this community around them that they're a part of, where they get to contribute to other people's lives in the same way that other people are contributing to theirs, you know, it all looked really fucking nice, and I was like, I really wish I had something like that. Which brings me to the next thing on my list, which is that it's incredibly difficult to find found family because it feels like everybody else has their family, you know? Like, we're all born into one, and even though everybody's families have issues, and especially like someone who's mostly friends with like other queer people and other neurodivergent people, I'm very aware that other people have issues within their families. And, you know, I definitely have some friends where I'm like, cut them off, this is not worth it. But I wouldn't say that to them because, like, it's not my family, it's not my situation. I would just support them if it came to that, you know? But I'm very, very aware that, like, most people's families are not the perfect family. Lots of people have issues and so on and so forth. But when you don't have any family at all and you're not having any sort of family time, it doesn't feel like anybody cares about you, it doesn't feel like anybody's unconditionally there for you, it's very easy to look at even like the shittest, most dysfunctional families and be like, I wish I had that. You know, and it does feel like you look around and like everybody else in the whole world has a family already. So even though people offer like, oh, we can be like family, we can be the best of friends, it's like, you've got a family though. Like, I'm not about to be inducted into that, am I? I'm not going to be invited to your family events. And, like, fair enough, I shouldn't be because I'm not your family. But you're offering something that you can't provide, and it kind of just makes me feel worse. And that's where I had a very close friend for a while who was in quite a similar situation with their mother, although they were still talking to their dad. But it felt like there was a degree of understanding that I don't really get from my other friends through no fault of their own because they haven't had to cut off a parent, you know? I hope they don't, you know? I would much rather think that all of my friends have parents that they can continue having really nice relationships with. But it was also very validating and comforting and relatable to have another friend who had had to cut a parent off. And I definitely attached myself a bit too much to that person, largely, like, not just because of that, there were lots of other reasons, but that was one of the things that really made me latch on and be like, we can be found family because you also don't have the thing that everybody else has, you know? Like, we can independently offer this thing to each other because we're not gaining it from somewhere else like everybody else is. It's a very complex thing, and there's lots of things to take into account because it's like if I was friends with someone who perhaps like their family lived really far away, that would feel very different because it's like you're not popping home every now and again to see them or whatever. Like, it's a big event if you're going home to see your family, so that would feel different, you know? But for the most part, it does just feel a bit like you have a family. Like, you're not going to fully induct me into your family because it'd be really weird and I don't expect you to, but that does also mean that, like, it just doesn't feel the same. And that's where I'm very, very lucky. In one way, I'm very, very lucky to have found some other people who have very poor, very strained, if any, relationship with their family. And it's awful because I'm like, I know how much that sucks and I don't want anyone else to go through it. And I especially don't want these people that I adore and think are brilliant people to go through it as well. But the other side of that is that they fully understand it. Like, they completely get how it feels and what I've been through and what I have to, like, you know, the things that come up and pop up even like a year and a half after ending the relationship with my family, they get all of that stuff. And not only do they get it, but it means that they're not just providing me with family, like I'm also providing them and like doing them the service. And I know that it's not like transactional like that, but also it kind of is. Like a relationship is a two-way street. You have to do things back and forth. And you know, it just doesn't feel the same when I'm getting my like family time from someone who is getting friend time from me because they have a family. It feels very, very different when I'm spending time with the people I consider to be my found family that don't, not that different, very, very is a bit of an overstatement, but you know, there is a different vibe to it because it is like, we are in this together, like we are the family, this is us, this is the unit, we are the unit, you know? And this video was largely inspired because I had a moment with them the other day when we were just hanging out very casually, and one of my family members, I suppose, came and showed us a video, and they were sat on one side of me with the other person on the other. So they were like leaning over, so the video was like in the middle over me, and the other person leaned in to like watch the video. And we were sat there and I was watching it, I was paying attention, and then I was like, holy fuck, I've been sat in this exact position 1,000 times with my literal blood related brother on one side and my literal like gave birth to me mother on the other. And it makes me cripplingly uncomfortable. I hate being shown a video by someone. I especially hate it if someone else is going to lean in and like lure over me while they're watching it. Like, it's a very uncomfortable social experience for me that I actively avoid when I can. Like, I will tell people like, no, I've seen that video, when I straight up haven't, just so they won't like come and show it to me and have someone lean. I hate it. It's a horrible experience for me. But I was sat there with these people and it was completely fine. I was entirely comfortable. I was entirely relaxed. I didn't mind them being in my space. And I was like, yo, that's because they're my family. Like, you know, it's not even like the found family element of it. It's this like comfort that I never felt with my literal blood related family that I do with these people. Which brings me to my next point, because feeling comfortable around the people that I consider to be my found family, easiest thing in the world. I don't have to put any effort into it. I don't have to try to unmask. It just happens. And I would say that I currently have like maybe 3 or 4 people I'd be like, yeah, they're my found family. And 2 of them do have like other family members and are like alright in life, you know? But I find it very, very easy to be comfortable around these people, to like unmask and be myself and be like, yes, we're family, and I feel like I can just fully let you see who I am. And you know, like, you'll either accept it or be like, yo, Dana, you need to sort this part of your personality out because it's not a good thing, and because you're my found family, I will trust that that's a genuine opinion and like reconsider myself and the like. But feeling comfortable in that those relationships are going to be maintained, that they're not going to end, that people aren't going to get bored of me or stop liking me, that's the hard shit. Because as I say, one of the people that, the first person that I considered to like be a part of like the foundations of my found family is someone that I no longer feel comfortable enough speaking to because of things that happened with them, which, you know, like, there's definitely a level of trauma where it's like, I expected my family to always be in my life. Obviously they're my family, so if even the people that are blood related to me, that I grew up around, that were supposed to always be there, why the fuck would these other people stick around, you know? Like, it's incredibly hard to trust that they're going to continue being there for me, that I'm going to continue speaking to them, that they're going to be the people that I feel like I've met, you know? Like, the other person really left fielded me. I really like thought that our relationship and our friendship and the way that they were was a certain way, and I was wrong about that. And I'm really scared of that happening again. It's very hard to feel comfortable and secure in the fact that like it's going to continue, that it's going to be maintained. And you know, there's the very good part of me that's like, that's because it's not guaranteed, and it's not, you know, like, things change all the time. You don't know if a relationship's going to continue, you don't know how things are going to be. But the other side of that is that these are people I'm considering to be my found family, and that I'm seeing as like family members because I trust them, you know? I trust that like they're not going to leave me, and I don't mean that in the way of like a lot of people, like all of my friends currently live very nearby. I could walk to any of them if I really needed to. It might be a longer walk, but like, you know, I could get to any of my friends within an hour and a half on foot right now. And I don't mean like leaving me in the way of like moving somewhere else. Like, I trust that the people that I consider found family could move to the other side of the world and they would still be my family, and I would still talk to them all the time, and there would still be that like bonding relationship, you know? I mean leave me in the way of like cutting me off, not speaking to me. like behaving in a way that means that I have to put my mental health first again and cut them off, you know? Because that's what happened with the other person. I had to be like, yo, this is not working for me and I feel really anxious, uncomfortable, and I need to just no longer speak to this person that I actively like consider to be family and want to speak to and want to spend time around. And it's one of those things that I think is just gonna come with time. It's just gonna be as we hang out and as we do more things together and create more memories together, I'm just gonna feel more secure and more like it's a long-term thing. And I'm just gonna have to go with the flow and deal with that for now. Which I hate, I really fucking hate. But I think that often that is the way of life. And finally, I don't really have a tie-in for this part, but I think that it is, for me at least, really, really fucking vital to have that found family friendship group. Like, having friends is delightful, and all of the people I'm friends with now are people that, like, if I needed to, I could absolutely like phone them, text them, meet up with them or whatever and be like, I don't feel that I need to talk, I feel this way and I need this. I fully trust that they would all accommodate to me and care for me and do their best to, like, deal with me, and it would be in an appropriate way and they wouldn't mind doing it, and I trust that it would all be fine, but I would never ever do that. Whereas with the people that I consider to be my found family, it is a case of like I phoned one of them the other day and was like, have you got time for a chat? I just feel a bit sad and bored and I'd be cheered up by talking to you. And because they're lovely people, they were like, let's go hang out, let's go to the park, let's go for a walk. And we hung out and it was a lovely little time and it absolutely cheered me the fuck up, And like, I just expected a phone call. They didn't have to hang out with me, but it was lovely. And that's not a kind of support I have ever had before in my life. Even when I've been in relationships where it felt like I could phone them up and be like, I feel sad, the best I could expect was them being like, that really sucks, I'm really sorry. It wasn't, okay, let's actively go out and do something right now to cheer you up. And that was just a delight. And I've had a lot of moments like that where, like, my friend, like, the friends that I consider my found family have said something or done something where I'm just like, we're family and you offer me a level of support that I've never ever experienced, and it feels safe enough to actually accept it and feel comforted or cheered up or whatever else by what you're doing. And I didn't even feel like that with my family, Like, if I got upset around my actual family, I got sent to my room to calm down and come back when, like, my emotions were over. Having friends that I can display emotions around, they're my family. Like being able to feel comfortable displaying those emotions and not feel embarrassed afterwards. Like, I still do to a point because I'm me and I'm like, oh my god, people perceive how I'm feeling. But it's nothing to do with them or their reactions, It's my past shit from having a bad family growing up. If I'd had this kind of family growing up, I don't think I would feel like that, and I don't think I'd have a lot of the struggles I've had. And that does feel like a degree of, like, repairing the brain chemistry, like the meme that goes around. This sounds real pathetic, but learning that, like, I can be cared for, I can be comforted, I can be supported, because they're all things that I had to do myself growing up, It was a very self-soothed family, and being able to, like, even just, like, repetitively talk about the same things so that I can process them and know that the people around me understand why I'm doing it and aren't mad at me for sharing the same story over and over like a broken record, it just means the whole entire world. And as someone who also grew up with family that, like, I didn't like and I didn't enjoy being around, I have so many, I've talked about this in videos before, but I've had so many moments where I'm, like, having, like, food with friends or just a chill hangout, or, we're just doing something as a little group and I'm maybe not, like, the most involved in the conversation in the moment or whatever, and I just sort of look at everyone and I'm like, this is the way it should be. Like, I'm comfortable with these people and I like them. Like, that's the thing that I've never had with family, and, like, there was a constant repetition in my family of the phrase, you don't have to like your family to love them. Like, I probably have birthday cards I could dig out from my brothers that are like, we don't like you, but we love you because you're our sister, and it's like, I don't like you either, buddy. So having people that I consider to be my family that I'm like, I like you, like, I actively, like, I like your personality, I think you're a good person, I think that the way that you work on yourself is helping you to grow, and I can't wait to see the person that you become further. I feel like they're doing the right things in life, like, it's I don't feel like I was, like, a particularly supportive family member to, like, my brothers and people, because it's difficult to support someone that you've watched repeatedly fail through their own fault. And you know, it sounds real shitty, and that's why I don't fucking talk to them. Whereas when it's my friends and the people I consider to be found family, if they tell me they're gonna do something or try something, I'm genuinely like, yeah, I think you can do that. Go for it. I can't wait to see what you do. Like, and it's, you know, it's not me like hoping for the best. Let's hope they pull through this time. It's maybe like, yeah, my friends are talented and intelligent and smart and funny and cool, and they can do the things that they say they're gonna do, and I have this like just full trust and faith and adoration for them, and that's how you're meant to feel about your family. And it's not how I ever felt about my blood related family. You know, I also trust that they're humans and sometimes they're gonna fail, and I'm gonna have to be there for them and comfort them and like step up and be family for them in return. And I don't think I'm gonna feel half as fucking bitter and petty about it as I did when I had to do that with my own family, because I had to constantly do it for my own family, and that was not done in return for me. Whereas like I've already felt like so much love and support and good, nice things from the people around me that like I wouldn't think twice about doing something to help them out, you know? And I think that's the way it should be, and it kind of sucks that I've had to go out and find that instead of just being born into it. But I think that lots and lots of us aren't born into it, and we do need, I think that we need to increase the discussion of found family and the fact that like it's okay to have that even outside of queer communities and outside of neurodivergent communities, you know? I think we're often the communities that are most likely to need it and the most likely to benefit from it, but we're not the only ones that need it, and we're definitely not the only ones that could benefit from it. So yeah, that's my thoughts, that's my opinion. And super quick right at the end here, I also think this is why I'm able to like casually date and date for fun for the first time in my life, because I have that support system and I don't feel the need to have a partner there to have that person that I can phone when I'm sad or whatever, you know? Like, I've got a support system that I can reach out to when I need them. I don't need one partner to be my everything at this point. That actually is my thoughts and opinions and stuff done now. So I upload on Thursdays and Sundays. If you would like to follow me here, please do like and subscribe. You can, you can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and we're still just calling it Twitter, right? And if you wanted to donate any money to me, you can go to Ko-fi, which will be linked down below, and my Patreon, which will be linked down below. And you can also become a YouTube member, which is so much fun. I love that for us. You alright? So yeah, whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year. And I will see you again in a couple of... I want to show you Otis first, one sec. Is there no... Oh, sorry. I didn't think he'd be that disturbed by it, honestly. He's normally a bit more chill when I pick him up. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you have a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.